We're getting real close here. The heat lock adhesive here is dry on the substrate. It's been about 1 hour for it, and I've got just about another maybe 10 minutes or so. This is still just a little bit tacky here on the back of the paper veneer, so I'm going to let that set up for a few more minutes, then we'll fire the iron up here and go ahead and start ironing this on and see what kind of results we get. Let's go back and take a look at a few other steps that I took. You can see I'm applying some blotch control here to the sides of the radio and as well to those corner pieces, and I wanted to darken those with some walnut stain prior to applying some of the walnut toner lacquers here. And you can see I have those corner pieces darkened up now. They're very, very close to what I'm looking for at the end of the refinish here. Moving along, up next here, I wanted to go ahead and tackle the veneer that we'll be using. It's just a paperback walnut veneer. And here I am just measuring and cutting the pieces out. Now, being I have the cabinet together, I'm actually trying to get this as precise as possible. So I'm just using a straight edge here, a sharp razor, and just cutting everything out. And then in just a moment, you'll see that I'm actually doing a dry fit here, as you can see, and then tracing out the cutout locations here for future reference. And just wrapping up here on the other locations that I want to trace out for reference after we get the new veneer placed in, to make it very easy to go in and do all the trimming around that area and just the necessary filing and sanding. Here's a look at the veneer itself with the cutout. You can see I just used 2 cutout locations for now. The grill area, and I tried to stay within 1/8 of an inch of the exact measurements that I need, just to minimize the amount of filing and sanding that I'll need. Here you can see I've got the veneer itself laid out, getting ready to apply the heat lock glue to the back side of the veneer itself. And there's a shot of the glue itself drying. And 9/1000ths of an inch for the total thickness of the adhesive itself, that is to the substrate and the veneer itself. And that's what I tried to shoot for as I was rolling that on. Let's get started here with the process. We'll let the iron heat up here. I'm going to be ironing on cotton. I think they say the desired temperature about 193 degrees, and I'm going to be hopefully close to that with a cotton washcloth here in between the iron and the veneer itself. Okay, 1 hour and 5 minutes, and when I put the piece of veneer back down here on the substrate, just a little tacky, and the good thing is the condition that it's in, it allows me to kind of pre-fit this. Let me go ahead and put this other piece on here at the bottom as well. Alright, that looks good enough to me. Something else that I did here as well, kind of a mistake, and I really couldn't wipe it off. You can see I've got a little bit of the heat lock adhesive here on the veneer. The veneer's extremely thin, so hopefully I can sand it off. I just wasn't in a position where I could wipe it down with cold water in time to remove it. So, you know, we may see a few places there when we wrap up here with some remains of the heat lock, and if that's the case, that's just fine to give it some character. And you can see this edge here of the banding on the bottom is just a little long. That was done intentionally. I'll just sand it off flush when we're done. And just a small gap here in the middle of the 2 veneers where they come together. They always say start in the center. Of course, my center is my grill area here for the speaker. So I'm going to start right in this area, which is still somewhat the center. Alright, let me just take a look at things here. Yeah, it looks like that's laying down pretty nice here. Let me just go ahead and continue to do this up to this point. Then when we get to the curved top here, I'll resume the video, see if we can form the veneer over the top without it splitting in. I'm just working this area right here a little more before I move up here north of the grill cutout. Alright, let me see if I can get it to roll over. I already know the veneer. I did a dry fit, and I'm going to have just a small gap here between the corner piece here, but I'll just touch it up, you know, when we get to that point. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and continue to work the rest of this here on this edge over here, and see if I can get any bubbles out of this area right here, and just make sure that this area is nice and tight. Then I'll come back and show an update. Using a small round file here just to get in here and clean up the cutouts. A little epoxy around those areas that I alluded to on the right hand side. Still some more cleanup to do. I'm doing this in segments. Now here's a look at the cabinet. This is where I ended up at. You can see got the new veneer on. Still some cleanup to be done along the edges. That was just some rough sanding and some filing with a file. And you can see here everything wraps around. And still some cleanup here on the back as well, just to square things up. But overall, not bad. Up next, we'll look at refinishing the cabinet after doing some sanding. And you guys saw where I already put a coat of kind of a chocolate brown toners here to match what I think was the original type of finish for the radio. Put a base stain here after applying a preconditioner. So I'll do some sanding here offline. Put a preconditioner here. Go ahead and stain the new Walnut Veneer as well. And then we'll look to put the final touches of toner lacquer on. Then we'll look to apply some clear lacquer, you know, down the road. Folks, thanks for watching.